Anyone can have a numerology chart. As you saw, I was going around doing them for various people. My dad has got 4, because every time you change your name, you get a new chart. And my dad, well, he's changed his name 3 times. This is my dad's first chart. This is when he was called Roderick. Roderick. That name always tickles me. A lot of old school Caribbean names do, to be honest, like Errol, Glenmore, Egbert. I mean, we know the heritage of them. They're just a bit odd. We know they don't really belong, do they? This is the version of my dad that I wish that I knew. The one that's in all of my photo albums. Stuck in the corner of a shabby sofa with an afro-like... Do you remember Pork Pie out of the Desmond show? A kind of short round thing with a thinning patch in the centre. In my favourite picture, he's got half a chicken bone sticking out of his mouth from his die-hard meal, chicken soup. This is the dad that used to practice kung fu 3 times a week and wear beige disco flares. He used to dance with windy hips to Motown. He took lessons so that he could take my mum out dancing. When I asked my mum if he had a favourite Motown song, she said it was Patti LaBelle and Michael McDonald, On My Own. And I thought, trust my dad to pick the driest Motown song going. So, this is when he first changed his name. Abdullah. I remember when he told me that. I thought, oh, he's serious. He's serious now. Like, he's a serious Muslim now. I asked him what it meant and he said, servant of God. He said, this name shows that God has helped me to take control of my destiny. And I know for him that that was a good thing. But in numerology, if you've got a number in every single box, then it shows that you're quite a rounded person. When he changed to Abdullah, that's when the gaps started to come. He lost his 5s, his 6s, his 7s. And then he changed to Salah. For anyone that can't see, this is on the back of the free sheet as well, these charts. He changed his name to Salah. I remember when he told me that. I said, Salah? Isn't that one of the 5 pillars of Islam? And he was well impressed that I knew that. And then I said, Dad, why are you changing your name again? He said, it's time for me to move on, or rather move up. Some of the men in the Brotherhood were trying to tell him how to be a good Muslim while selling pornography and alcohol in their shops, so he'd had enough. Time for a fresh start. I suppose one good thing I could say about this name change was that he gained a 2. And that represents sensitivity and peacemaking skills, but he lost a 3, and that represents tolerance and good communication. And he lost 2 8s, that's control and realistic thinking. And he still didn't fill in those gaps, did he? So he's still missing his 5s, his 6s, his 7s. 5, that's liveliness and free thinking. 6, that's family and security. 7, that's worldly pursuits and pleasures. And now, he's added Chemet to his name. I remember when he told me that, I thought, Chemet? I've not heard that word before. He had to explain that it's an ancient Egyptian word. It means black land, like it literally refers to the black fertile soil that surrounds the River Nile. But it means more than that. It means pure black intelligence cultivated by the original Afro-Egyptian people. So I love that he's added that to his name, and it means that he's got 2 of his 5s back, which, as we know, represents liveliness and free thinking. But when we look at this chart, we know it's unbalanced, don't we? I mean, he's got 6 1s. When he was called Roderick, he had 1 single 1. Now he's got 6. People with too many 1s in their chart, they're stubborn, they're rebels, loners. I mean, I don't believe any of this stuff. It's just interesting, isn't it? And it's something I can talk to my dad about. Yeah, it's just interesting. You know, if you were to meet my dad, you'd probably say that I look like him, but I can't always see it.
Like him, like
his eyes, the broadness of his nose. They say I'm from the kink in my head to the way I wear my clothes. They say I'm, and they say, so I say I'm like him. And they say, so I say I'm like him. So everybody knows, and they say, and I say I'm like him. Like him, like him, like him. Like him, like him, like him. This is how he communicates with me. Books and letters through a letterbox. When I was little, it used to feel like a game. The vanishing postman. I would hear him rustling on the porch, so I'd rush downstairs, try and catch a glimpse of him, but most days I'd miss him. So I'd end up with a hug's worth of GCSE physics, astrology, politics for dummies. The mathematical definition of eccentricity is a measure of how much something deviates from being a perfect circle. So circles have an eccentricity of 0. Maths was my favourite subject when I was in school. I learnt about eccentricity when I was studying to be a maths teacher in university. So apparently, eccentricity is about planetary orbits, perfect circles and ratios, but some words have a special meaning, don't they? That only make sense to you. Because to me, eccentricity is a feeling. It's that feeling at 6 a.m. when I open my door to find a homeless man pushing books about quantum physics through the letterbox. A beard as grey and tattered as his socks. Hair like a platinum crown of electromagnets, constantly picking up signals. He's got freckles all over his hands and his face, like butterfly eggs on a cabbage leaf. He's got a face that never seems to age, and a concave body that never seems to put on weight. His sunken cheeks, they speak of countless days sipping chicken soup and breakfast tea. He's got wide eyes with camel-like lashes, and I see flashes of how handsome he used to be from behind his dry, pale skin. But it's translucent now, in the art of simple living. And he smells like old paper, curled page endings and sympathetic dust. He smells like an unread story. That novel that you glance at the top of your overloaded bookcase and somehow that feels like enough. But when I catch him in the early hours of the morning, then I've got to say something like, "Hi, Dad. Do you want a cup of tea?" "No, I don't want no foolish cups of tea. Can you not see the seasons are changing? You need to take your mother back to the West Indies. The world is in decay. All things are going to change." "All right, Dad, but do you want a cup of tea? Can you not see the seasons are changing? Things in this country are about to get hell-bent. The world is in decay, and I know you haven't read my notes on galactic alignment. You better be keeping your eyes on them houses of parliament, the super rich, the 1% they're going to have us in Babylon, and he'll carry on like this for about 10 minutes or so and then float off into the distance. The moon has an eccentricity of 0.0549, which is significantly greater than the Earth's eccentricity, which is quite circular when it's going around the sun. So in those terms, if my dad were in orbit, he'd probably be closer to the moon. But I need him on Earth with me. To the untrained ear, yeah, he probably sounds deranged, but whenever I'm studying something, I go to my bookcase and I find that he's already given me all the stuff that I already need. He has this way of saying stuff that pops up in the news like 3 months down the line. So he's my shabby oracle. He's always one step ahead, always pushing me to think bigger, beyond the sky, up into uncharted territory until it feels like I'm suffocating. Just popped open. I felt like I was going to be sick, but I wasn't. It's hard to describe it. It's this pulling feeling, this gravitational tug of war between moon and tide, nauseating. I know that my dad's on the other side of it. I've been meaning to check on him. I've been meaning to for a while now, but you know how it is. It's almost Christmas. Where does the time go? You know, about a year ago, he started sending me these weird notes. He said, Inshallah, just a few lines to keep in touch. But we've never even touched. I mean, I've got one picture where I'm a baby, I'm like a year old and he's holding me up like that and we're both smiling, but that's evidence, isn't it? I've not got any actual memories of us touching. When he sent the first one, I thought it was quite funny. Then another one came and another one came and they're all saying the same thing. They started to piss me off. Stopped opening them. And then they stopped coming. I've offered to buy him a phone, but he's not interested. Wish I could just ring him. I go downstairs. I ask my mum when's the last time she saw him, because she always sees him when she goes to the market, but she wants to know why I'm asking. And I say, well, Mum, I've asked a question first, so you should just answer me. But now she wants to know if I'm in a mood, and I'm not in a mood. I just don't feel well. And now she's joking and asking if I'm pregnant. And I hate it when she says that. I say, Mum, my dad, when did you last see him? And she says, I can't remember. And that's what it's like when I bring up my dad these days. So there's no point asking if she'll give me a lift. I know what the answer will be, but it's fine. It won't take me that long to get there. There's just no guarantee that he'll be in. He only lives in Longsight. From there I have to get the 85 into town, stop off, get the 192, and the 192 comes pretty often. It's just, every time I get on that bus, there is some kind of drama. The last time, it must have been a Saturday, because the football was on, and there was a distinct smell of dried beer, and in the distance you could hear the vague wailing of pot-bellied men. You can never quite tell if they're winning or not. This woman, with her hair scraped back into a tight, "Don't mess with me, Born," penguined her way onto the bus. From the side, she looked like she was about 7 months pregnant, but from the back, you wouldn't have a clue. So just as she was fishing her pass out of a little white bag, this man jumped on, tried to pinch out of her hand. This mixed race guy, tracksuited, stubbled, looked like he'd been on the lash for about 3 weeks straight, but my girl, she was quick. So she flinched. Her elbow jabbed into the 2 beers that he was holding, and he had the cheek to say, "Watch it, darling." Well, as her hairstyle suggested, she was having none of it. Her little shoulders squared up as she growled, "You what?" And he must have been in shock, because in 2 seconds she managed to jab him in the chest. She reclaimed her pass. The bus engine was enough to make him topple back onto the street. His beer splashed up on the closing doors, sounded like he called her a stupid pregnant something. And then she flicked a tongue between her 2 fingers at him. And that's what it's like when you go to Longsight. I mean, it was on the news last year that some guy jumped on with a knife, I think a bread knife, and held up the driver, robbed the bus. 192. But on a good day, it's just a 15-minute ride to Longsight Market. You get off at the fishy side, and then you take a second or a third turn past the church. I always get lost at that bit because the road signs are usually cracked or vandalised or just missing. And I wouldn't mind if, there weren't so many random dogs just jumping out from behind fences, but it's fine. It's 9:45 now, so I can just get ready rapid. I can even go to shop, get a few bits for my dad, get the 10:25 bus, and then get into town for like 11, get into Longsight for like 11:20, and then catch him before midday prayer. It's simple. The morning air is crisp and bright. Sunny winter days are always a nice surprise, aren't they? I take a wide walk around this yappy dog that's tied outside of the co-op, and the whoosh of artificial freshness greets my face. Stood next to the newspaper stand is this black guy, security guard, jerks his eyes in my direction. Everything's just a bit too straight. He's got a sharp black tie and a moustache to match it. He's got seams ironed into his grey trousers and middle parting shaved into his pat-down fro. This guy in a high-vis jacket cuts between us, followed by two raucous schoolgirls splitting a pack of strawberry laces, and from the giddiness in their voices, I can tell they've bunked off school. I turn to grab a basket, but somehow I know that this security guard's still got his eyes on me. I've never bought anything for my dad before. I'm not really sure what to get him. Chicken soup. A tin of chicken soup. Is Tintalao chicken soup a thing? Can you believe that my mum found out on my christening day? Check this. So I'm wrapped up in her arms. Her modestly pink lips are matching her handbag and her shoes, obviously. And I'm the baby, the star of the show, in the frilly gown with the socks to match it. My dad's wearing this baggy, understated blazer with elbow patches. And, to Caribbean Christian families, christenings are a big deal. They come second to, weddings and funerals, so the church was rammed. There's always, food and dancing afterwards. The church was packed. Everyone's got cufflinks, wide brim, loud colour hats, flouncy dresses. They've polished up the shoes, and my mum is sat at the front with my dad. And the priest calls them up for communion. My mum springs up like a good Christian and then turns and sees that my dad's still sat down. So she turns and she's like, "Oh, are you going to come and get the wine for communion?" And that's when he turned to her and said, "No, because I'm a Muslim." Just dropped it like that, Like they weren't about to consecrate me in the ways of Christianity. Like he not just made me mum look like a twat in front of the priest and the whole rotted family. You mean, he may as well have just spat in the wine. That would have been less embarrassing. But he wasn't even being malicious. The gravity of the situation wasn't apparent to me, Dad. He was too busy stargazing. Tintalao chicken soup. It's a thing. Okay, next item. So I'm thinking chicken soup and apples, or no, chicken soup and strawberries, or chicken soup and dates. See, I know that my dad likes dates because he uses them to break his fast during Ramadan. See, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to be at the 10:15 bus at this rate. I catch the security guard bobbing his head round the aisle looking for me. Our eyes lock and then I roll mine towards the fridge section. I remember walking with my dad to bulbous buildings that looked like ice cream scoops plopped on top of each other. Watching him wash his feet. Dry heels like the edges of torn paper. I remember the headscarf that Sadia asked me about when she asked me if I was half Muslim. I said, "No, I'm half Christian." And my dad, "I'm Christian and half Jamaican." And I remember the teacher telling us to sit down. I remember asking questions that flew like paper planes out of the window, holding my hand up until it was weightless or too heavy for my brain to understand. I remember the teacher shouting sounds I couldn't understand. I remember not putting my hand up again. I remember learning how to count a minute perfectly without looking at the clock. I remember telling my mum that I don't want to go back. It's been 2 minutes and I haven't picked anything else up yet. This is harder than I thought it would be. A guy's behind me in a suit making a makeshift office breakfast and I'm jealous. I need something to jump out one of these aisles. Gherkins, sardines, plantain chips. Would my dad like plantain chips? Yeah. I mean, he's Jamaican, innit? But we can't just go around saying that, can we? We can't just like, oh yeah, he's Jamaican, he'll like plantain chips. This is getting embarrassing now. This is not how I shop, by the way. I usually have a list. I'm an in-out person, no messing around. But tea. Why didn't I think of that earlier? See, I know that I catch the security guard looking at me again. I look him up and down, and he has the cheek to say, "Good morning, sister." Sister? Is this how you treat a sister? By profiling her and following her around? Man needs to get his hairline sorted. I'm sorry, I just don't understand why you'd have some middle part when you got some funky hairline or them pepper grains around the back. And what's all this now? Don't you think there's too many types of tea? Spicy chai, cocoa green, orange sunrise, and what's this one, bumba seed? I reckon 3 items is enough now, isn't it? Is it? I must look mad. Keep drifting in, drifting out, picking stuff up, putting it back down. Maybe I should ask that security guard what he would get. He's cheeky, you know, calling me sister. There's got to be a positive way of asserting yourself without falling into that stereotype of the angry black woman. Or maybe I'm giving him reason to look at me today. I mean, is that enough now? Should I just rock up to my dad's house and say, "Hi Dad, it's me. You stopped sending stuff, so I thought I'd come round. It's been 5 months. Can you just let me in?" I know it's been about, well, it was since my granddad's funeral, since we properly spoke. It was on the table for weeks. My granddad's strangely familiar eyes just staring out of that pamphlet, almost haunting me. I couldn't believe that my dad didn't show up to the funeral. I know that he doesn't get on with his dad, but to miss his dad's funeral, I didn't think he'd be that disrespectful. So I kept the pamphlet on the table in the hopes that I could give it to him, redeem him, be the bigger person in the situation. And the day came when he was stood on my porch, hunched over another bag of books. He was wearing a blue bobbled hat and a tattered brown jacket, and it was raining, so I couldn't look at him. He was stuttering about his stupid books. Didn't even have the guts to admit what he'd done, so I just picked up the pamphlet and shoved it in his face. No words exchanged, I just picked up the pamphlet and shoved it in his face, and that's when he exhaled, "Oh, he's dead." Like it was a question. But Auntie wrote him a letter. She tried to call, she tried to reach out to him, so why did he fix his mouth like a black hole and say, "Oh, he's dead"? And those words cut through the air like satellite shrapnel. Why was it me that ended up telling him? That's not how it was supposed to go. I was a good person, I was there. Me and Ibrahim stood next to the coffin like two sad little dickheads, but I knew that my dad wasn't lying. His face whitened. His freckles glared like eclipsed moons, and our hands trembled in sync, and then he vanished from that doorstep. I'm stood next to the plantain chips again. Decided to grab a pack and head to the queue. Defo not getting the 10:15 bus at this rate. Oh, my chest. Do you know what? 2 hours and this feeling will be gone. I just need to see my dad and ask him why he's not been speaking to me for 5 months. Why was he sending cryptic letters about keeping in touch? What does he even do all day? He don't have a job. What if something's happened? I don't know if he's choked on chicken bone, slipped in the bath, tripped and impaled himself on a radio aerial right through his heart. The security guard's staring at me again, but it's not in that suspicious way. Maybe my thoughts are so loud, maybe he can hear him. Maybe he wants to know if I'm okay, but I'm not. I don't know what I'm doing. Chicken soup, dates, tea and plantain chips. Simple. L equals 3. O equals 6. V equals 4 and E equals 5. 3 plus 6 was 4 plus 5 is 18 and 1 plus 8 is 9. Love reduces to the number 9. If I'd have guessed, I would have thought that love reduced to 1. You know, self-love, one love, monotheistic religions. Or makes you think about the number 1, no? But then I suppose you might say, well, why wouldn't love be 2? Because it has to be between 2 people or 2 things. And then I suppose I could say, well, why wouldn't it be 3? Because love is bigger than those 2 people. It comes out of them, binds them together. My parents got divorced when I was 3. My dad's been divorced twice now. His second wife was brought to him all the way from Morocco. Her name's Raja, and her beauty, like her voice, is soft and quiet around the edges. Her hips are a testament to the plates upon plates that she always has ready for any accidental guest. I swear the most common phrase that she says in English is, eat, come on, eat. I think my dad was upset when they got divorced. But maybe it was more ego break instead of heartbreak. His nostrils flared like exhaust pipes when I asked him if he ever really loved Raja. If I was little and you would have asked me, I probably would have said that love was equal to 5. Because that's the amount of seconds that I used to count, stood on my porch watching my dad walk away before I'd say, I love you, Dad. Hoping he'd hear me. Or at least feel the energy I was catapulting towards him, hoping it would keep him safe somehow. Leap forward 10 years and I probably would have said that love was equal to 7. Niggers, 7. The amount of times that my dad called his family this before I stopped him. Because it hurt. Because I don't even know them, but they're my family, innit? I didn't want him to talk about them like this because they're my family. That's love, isn't it? I mean, the more that he tells me about my grandma, the less I actually want to meet her. I can't even do her numerology chart because I don't know her name. I think the thing that my dad really loves is God. That's what love is for him. It's a mission. It's a pilgrimage. It's a test. He always says that his first test was his mother. He says that woman did everything in her power to rid me of my self-respect. Yeah, she took us to England, but only so she could dump us on our dad. And he didn't want to know. He had a new English woman, a new English life. And even when I got older, got a job, tried to bring her some money. She just shoved that in my face. Like that time when I was 6, she wanted me to read like the other children. So she just picked up a book. And she threw it in my head. Read, she said. She picked up a book. And she threw it in my head. Read, she said. She picked up a book. And she threw it in my head. Read, she said. Read. She picked up a book. And she threw it in my head. Read, she said. Read. 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 And that's why I say you're lucky. Look at your mother. Look at everything that you have. If you just read all these books, then you'll go much further than I could. Love reduces to 9. 9's the highest single digit. It represents achievement and completion, an initiation of moving from an early state to a higher state. I think love is actually just infinity. It's not really a number, is it? It's just a concept of endlessness, something that we'll never truly understand because we're bound by our finite bodies in a finite world. Love will always be alien to us. I'm slightly out of breath from my power walk to the bus stop, but I've made it in good time. It's 10:21. Bus should be here soon. I look out to the park and I see a group of Chawton mums walking towards the pond. For some reason I get my phone out and I decide to Google hugs. Sometimes I never really hugged my dad before, so I reckon I need a bit of a strategy. If I hand him this bag of groceries first, then it will block us, won't it? So I should keep hold of it and then hug him, but then I might bash him in the back. No, I'll give it to him, because then it'll have his defences down. It'll be like, oh, this is nice, and then I'll just... But then he might still have his kung fu reflexes. Sometimes I like to imagine what it would feel like if Sometimes I like to imagine what it would feel like if I feel his big on my neck, fit myself into the cave of his chest, play dot to dot with freckles on his forehead, and I wanna know, what does he smell like? 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 I click on the Wikipedia link that's at the top of my search list. Apparently, hugs can boost your serotonin and your oxytocin levels and activate your solar plexus chakra. Yes, Google, this is fully in my dad's language. I should just drop all of this as a random fact to him. I won't be able to get him off me. Sometimes I like to imagine what it would feel like if The bus gets here. I shove my hand in my bag, look for me pass, can't find it, smile at the driver, continue to search for me pass, but the driver, he doesn't smile back. He gives me this kind of, I've seen this routine before, love look. He thinks I'm trying to ting, but I'm not like that. I've always got me pass. It was just in here. Here's someone tutting up the aisle. I want to be like, yeah, chill your beans, but everyone's looking at me, and I ain't even got any change, but I shouldn't have to pay, should I? Because I've got me pass. It was just in here. I decide to step off. I'm muttering now. Flustered. I'm storming up and down the street. And then I find it under a pile of leaves. Just need to check if anyone saw my little episode. My brother would say I was coming like my Uncle Andrew. My Uncle Andrew tried to walk to London once. Mad in it. He went on the motorway and everything. He's a Muslim like my dad, so I always picture him with these long garments, an embroidered hat and a big duffel coat, marching up the M6. Pure fiction. I've never met him. I think I was about 2, maybe. No one's ever told me the end of that London story. I don't know why he was going, or if he got there. I can't believe I just did that. I always have my pass in the same place in this bag. And now the bus is a little orange blob going towards Loretto College, but it's fine. I was being generous before. I could still make it into town before 11. I can't really do a numerology chart for my Uncle Andrew. You know, with his proper name, like his Muslim name. Every time I ask my dad about it, he just flies off into a rage. I was actually consoled about the fact that I was going to go to my granddad's funeral, because I thought, I'll get to meet my Uncle Andrew. I'll get to ask him, why were you going to London? Did you get there? I saw my cousin. I said, where's Uncle Andrew? And she tilted her head and said, Uncle Andrew won't be coming because he won't let him out. Let him out of where? I said. Uncle Andrew's been sectioned. He's been sectioned for years now. I hate when the bus is late. It's a genuine sense of powerlessness, isn't it? My breath is more and more visible as it hits the cold air, so I'm literally fuming. There's nothing I can do about it. And what's that number up there about? Text that to say what? That my bus is coming? Why do I need some text message telling me what I already know? Yeah, I know my bus is late. Yeah, it better be on the way, because it's not here. I just don't need it to be this long, do I? I said I want to get into town for 11. I want to catch my dad before midday prayer. I don't know what he does after mosque. He might go library, he might go shopping, he might go knitting class for all I know. I don't know. I just need someone to check on him. Surely someone can check on him. Hello? Hiya. Yeah, is this the social services? Well, I googled and this was what came up for the Longsight District Centre. Yeah. Right. Sorry, I've not made this kind of phone call before, so I'm not really sure what to... Okay, right, well, basically, I just want to know if there's someone that you're visiting already, and if not, can I request that you put him on your list as someone to be aware of? Right. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay, so it's my dad. He lives on his own. Well, he's in his 60s and he lives on his own. Well, yeah, no, I know that he struggles with his mental health, but... No, I'm not taking him to doctors. No, we don't have that kind of relationship. Right. Because his behaviour is erratic, and I don't have the capacity, so... No, he's not been violent. Is that what level it has to get to before I make a call? I mean, what does she need me to say? That he's scrambling around on the floor? No. I'm not getting annoyed. Look, I just thought I could call and someone with the right skills could check on him, because I'm concerned that... Right. The website. Yeah. Okay. An email. Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. Yep, thank you. Bye. The bus still isn't here. And now the clouds are threatening to break at any minute. That's what it's like in Manchester. You can go a whole day like this without feeling one drop of rain. I always forget that the clouds are not as fragile as they appear. They weigh like millions of pounds. Like 100 elephants. Can you believe it? What if my dad has fallen down the stairs like Sandra Bullock in Crash? She had a phone as well. He doesn't even have that. And the postman, he only comes to the front of the building because that's where the postal basket is for all the flat block. And like, the bus gets here. It should have been here at 10:35, not 10:42, but I don't mention that to the driver. What matters is that it's here now. Although, you know, a small part of me wishes it was the same driver and the same passengers as before, just so they could see I'm not some mad rambling woman. I just dropped me pass on the street. I decided to distract myself with one of my dad's old letters. I remember this one. It's from 12 years back. I get in from school and I noticed this letter on the ground and I think, oh, it must be a thank you note from my dad because it was his birthday and I'd got him a present. I mean, I know that he doesn't celebrate birthdays, but it still feels disrespectful for me to not acknowledge it. When he had a phone, I used to ring him and say, happy birthday, Dad, and he'd say, Muslims don't celebrate birthdays, Keisha. I never understood why he said that, because all of my Muslim friends in school, they used to bring in cake, jalebi, samosas, onion bhajis, and we'd sing to them like we'd sing to anyone else. I didn't understand why he was being so strict, but... Anyway, I opened up this envelope and I saw red letters in capital ink, and somehow I knew this wasn't a thank you note. It said, Inshallah. Recently, I've been speaking to a Muslim teacher who teaches in a girls' school in South Manchester. She says that 60% of girls in year 9 and above have a boyfriend. Furthermore, half of these girls are fornicating. You, Keisha Thompson, must not take whoredom lightly. This was followed by 2 quotes. The first was from the Quran, 24:2. It said, the woman and the man who fornicate scourge each of them 100 whips, and in the matter of God's religion let no tenderness for them cease if you believe in God and the last day, and let some of the believers witness their punishment. The second one was from the Bible, 1 Corinthians 6:18. It said, flee from sexual immorality. All sins that a person commits are outside of the body, but the sexually immoral person sins against his own body. Firstly, I thought, whoa, that's a bit intense for a Thursday afternoon, do you know what I mean? Secondly, I thought, I do not like that my dad can quote from the Bible and the Quran at me. And who uses the word whoredom anyway? And thirdly, I thought, what kind of rubbish statistics are they? Some woman who teaches in a girls' school doesn't have to mean it was my girls' school. And furthermore, half of 60% is 30%, so why is my dad immediately assuming that I'm in the minority when actually I'm on the other side of the grid? No boyfriend, no sex. Then, a few weeks later, after that stupid whoredom letter, I get another delivery. It's 2 books. When I first see them, I am so shocked that I shove them in my wardrobe before my mum can see. They're definitely the weirdest books that my dad has ever sent to me. I wait for a day when my mum's at work and I've got the house to myself and I get them out. Sexual Teachings of the Jade Dragon. Taoist Methods for Male Sexual Revitalization. and healing love through the tile, cultivating female sexual energy. In other words, what the hell? Why is my dad sending me some perverted books after practically calling me a whore in his last letter? Obviously, I read them for a little bit. One of them talks about this stone egg that ancient Chinese women used to strengthen their pelvic floor muscles. I mean, it's interesting, but just slightly a bit too graphic for my liking, particularly since it's come from me dad. It's like he's accepted that I'm having sex now, even though I'm not, but now he wants to make sure that I'm having, amazing Zen-powered spiritual sex. He's such a hypocrite. Or maybe this is his way of having a talk with me. More birds and bees, less birds and bees, and more dragons and eggs. I look up from the letter, and we've only just made it to the dance house. It's like the universe don't want me to see my dad today. No, I'm an idiot. It's almost Christmas, isn't it? Town is going to be a nightmare. I look out the window and see the garish dance of fairy lights and tinsel spilling out from all the shop windows. Eviction, some affliction, just up and fled. Do I think my dad is filled with dread? Shake my head, how the thought spreads. Why do I think my dad is dead, 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 dead? Bankrolls, should go choked in bed. Do I think my dad is filled with dread? Shake my head, how the thought spreads. Why do I think my dad is dead, 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 haunted by this little voice, daunted 'cause I've got no choice. Daunted by this little voice, daunted 'cause I've got no choice. Dead, 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 dead. It might be quicker to walk. And I've just spotted this spider that's crawling down the windowsill next to my arm. And I don't have time for that. I don't need to cause a scene, do I? I've already jabbed this woman next to me. See, this is what happens when spiders come near me. I've got no consent over my body. She looks vexed, so I just stumble down the aisle and I jump off. It's Monday the 21st of December, so that means it's 4 days until Christmas, or 5 months since I've heard from my dad. I'm on Portland Street. There's too many people, and my ears are popping. And it's one of those clear days where the sky is so honest that you can see the sun and the moon all at once. Why would he say just a few lines to keep in touch? And we've never even touched. I used to stare at his hand as he handed me a bag of books our hands would never touch. Never asked me how I was feeling. Never showed me any affection. Have you read the books? Have you read the books? I should have said, have you read the books? How are you giving me books about Freudian tendencies and human connection and you don't even know how to interact with your own daughter? Yeah, I know his mum was horrible to him, but is he not going to give me a hug? Is he going to leave this world and not give his daughter a hug? Someone just bumps into me. Friggin' Christmas shopping, innit? Everyone's out spending the money that they don't have, ignoring all the streams of homeless people in tents. I'm in Piccadilly Gardens now, so obviously there's an elf smoking a fag. There's a boy beatboxing to Wham. My neck's hot. My nose is freezing, so I zip down my jacket and the bag slips. The dates, the tea, they get kicked. The plantain chips, they get squashed, but I grab the soup. I grab that though. Splash on my forehead, on my neck, on my nose. Rain, of course. It's fine. I didn't need those material things. I told myself to go to the shop because I told myself that I had time, but who says that? Who has time? What if a bookshelf has fallen on my dad and he's slowly suffocating in his flat? He must have a friend. Just one friend that checks on him. But then how will that friend know how to contact me? That friend won't know me. And if they did and they contacted me, would I get upset? Sometimes I worry that I won't. I didn't cry when my granddad died. I'm at the 192 stop now, and there's a bus here, and there's a woman in front of me. She's fumbling around with her purse, and I'm thinking, come on, man. And she pulls a stream of coins in front of the driver, but she smells familiar, like a home-cooked meal. My mum took me round to see Raja and Ibrahim today. Raja says that my dad was throwing coins through the letterbox. Coins instead of books. She told Ibrahim to go upstairs. Ibrahim, who is all lashes and lanky limbs. Ibrahim, who is 5, and the last time I saw him, he was 7. I'm a bad sister. I imagine that he's what my dad was like when my dad was little. Wide, inquisitive eyes and a quivering voice, terrified of the potential genius that might just fall out of him. I want to take him to the cinema, I want to take him to the park, I want to take him for a big juicy pizza, but every time I offer that to Raja, she says no. She says that my dad was throwing coins through the letterbox, and immediately I start to think of a logical or literal reason for why he might have done that. Some kind of commentary on money, perhaps. I don't think he knew that from inside they looked like bullets flying through the house. He was trying to be poetic. She just didn't understand him. As I reason my way out of concern, Raja continues to speak. Broken English like the collection of cutlery on the table, some patterned, some bent, and I think, oh, I wonder if this is what I would sound like if she insisted we spoke in French. He hit me, she says, for the 3rd time. Only this time I hear her. Her jaw wobbles shut. She's nodding her head and shaking it, confirming the memory about trying to shake herself from it all at once. He hit me and he pushed me more than once. I turn and look at my mum. Grit my teeth in shame. She plats her legs and pulls her handbag to her stomach. Raja looks to me as though I'm supposed to give her some kind of explanation as to why my dad's a raging bastard, but I didn't give birth to him. What am I supposed to say? I didn't give birth to him. And why is it that the only thing I want to say is, did you fight back? Did you fight back like my mum did when he hit her? My mum grabbed an ashtray, lobbed it at him, but he'd already run out onto the street. See, I can listen to that story because it's a story of stupidity. A story of a man who tried to cross my mum and felt her wrath, and the story used to end with, he didn't do it again. But that ending isn't true now. A few weeks later, my dad will come to visit and I will struggle to look at him because he's a coward. I've never really judged him for being an limp excuse of a dad, but what's his excuse for being a pathetic example of a man? And even though I'm seething, I still won't pluck up the courage to ask him why he thinks it's alright to hit women, because part of me thinks he might turn around and hit me. So I keep my mouth shut. Who's the coward now? Show the driver my pass and the journey gets swallowed up in my thoughts. I wonder if there's a clear difference between love and pity. I wonder why I'm here. So what? I've not heard from my dad. Why do I even care? Some of my friends, they don't speak to their dads. Some of them don't even know them. Sometimes that feels like it might be an easier option. I'm at the Apollo. It's 11:20. I can still make it. Every now and again, an overly ostentatious house catches the corner of my eye, and I think, the brighter the house, the more secrets inside that family must be trying to mask over. Because that's what happens at this time of year. Everything gets heightened. Extreme joy or extreme sadness. Hiya, can I get put through to accident and emergency, please? Or actually, if someone had like a bookshelf fallen or had a heart attack, where would they go? Sorry, no, it's my dad. I was just wondering if he was in A&E. Right, a name. Hang on. I think you might have Mr. Abbasid. Yeah, no, he's black. He's quite fair-skinned. He looks Arab, but he's Jamaican. No, but he's got a British accent. Yeah, he's 61. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, this is really complicated. I don't want to waste your time. It's my dad. He's missing for about 5 months. Well, no. That's how long it's been since I've seen him. But do you know what it is, right? It's just this feeling. It's like intuition, but I can actually feel it like under my bra, like in my chest. No, I'm not sick. No, it's my dad. I just wanted to check if he was in A&E. Yeah. No, the police. No. No, that makes sense. Yeah, cool. Okay, thank you. Sorry. Bye. Galileo once asked the question, if you were to drop a cannonball and a feather at the same time, which would hit the ground first? On Earth we have gravity. Gravity is constant. It produces an acceleration of 9.8 metres per second on any falling object, which literally just means if you've got a big falling object, it results in a big gravitational force, and a small falling object results in a small gravitational force. So they hit the ground at the same time. Gravity is always trying to teach us about inevitability. No matter how big or small you make yourself out to be, gravity just finds a force that matches you and brings you down at the same rate as everything else. This experiment's easier to understand on the moon, because on the moon there's no air. On Earth we've got air resistance, so it's less about how big you are and how much you're willing to converse with the wind is more important, I guess. And if you figure that out, then you defy gravity a little bit longer than anything else. But even then, at some point, you will come crashing down. I get off the bus. Fishy side of Longsight Market. There's wide set alleys, overflowing skips, decaying food. The smell of fish is so thick I can feel it on my tongue. I cut through the market. I go past the fruit stall, the fake designer t-shirts, the shoe stall, and then two veiled women cut out in front of me. I almost trip over them. It's like they don't even notice me. And I make a sharp turn at the material store and I get out because I used to hate coming here with my mum. Some people just make you feel like you don't belong. I used to struggle when she was stood at the front of the queue trying to get some eye contact, trying to get served, and people speaking another language getting served before it. I make it to the pedestrian stop and there's this little girl and she's on a green scooter and she looks up and smiles, presses the button for both of us, and instead of smiling back I make this asymmetric wince because it's my chest. Am I having a heart attack? Everything's just a bit too tight. I need to pick up the pace. I make it to the church, second turn, and then I get it right and two children in oversized shoes rush past me and I think, what if my dad has fallen over and been put in a home? Because that's what they do to old people, isn't it? No, I get to the front and his buzzer is crackling. What if he's been electrocuted? He might have been reading and then his lamp went into the water. No, I get to the front door, grab the handle and I push and there's a cloud of dust and look back to the daylight. His postal basket, an overflow of junk mail and letters, looked back to the dungeon. The ceiling, with no light bulb. Wires hanging down like dragons' tongues. Step inside, shadows, something over my head. Spiderwebs out. Look back up to the window. Newspaper against the glass. Can't see. Go around the other side. There's books and boxes pushed up against the glass. I can't see. And there's three veiled women. Mouthing something. I don't understand. So I just go back to the door and spiderwebs, spiderwebs, spiderwebs. Eyes shut, dive, knocking now, knocking and ticking, ticking because the broken meter's ticking. There's a broken meter and it's just ticking, it's ticking. There's broken meter and it's ticking. There's broken meter and it's ticking. This broken meter just keeps ticking. It's ticking, it's ticking, it's ticking, it's ticking, it's ticking, it's ticking. Excuse me, love, can I see your bus pass? It's a routine ticket inspection. Show the woman my ticket. Oh my God. I'm that woman. The one that falls asleep on the bus. The one with the stupid bag full of letters and soup and guilt. I get off the 192. It's 11:47. I can still make it. Just need to cut through the market, and the rain is falling diagonally. It feels like a personal attack, and my brain is looping, saying, it's Monday the 21st of December. It's Monday the 21st of December, like a friggin' woodpecker. Why is my brain making a note of the day as though it should matter to me? Nothing's happened. I get to the flat. Get to the front door. Grab the handle. Push. His broken meter's ticking. What if he's done something to himself? No. I know that suicide in Islam is a sin. Yes, we know about all the radical pricks, but I know that suicide in Islam is a sin, so he wouldn't do that. Are you looking for the man upstairs, love? This white woman from across the street. She shouts over. I say, yeah. Have you seen him by any chance? She pouts. No. Not seen him in a while. Are you his daughter? And for a nanosecond, that makes me feel better. And then she says, well, why don't you just ring him, love? Hops into a red Suzuki and drives off. Hello? Hiya, can I get put through to the police, please? I need to report someone is missing. Yeah, it's my dad. I've not seen him for 5 months, but I've just spoken to his neighbour and she said that she's not seen him for a while, so... No, she didn't. No, she's gone. Look, she's gone, and I'm here, and there's newspaper all over the glass. There's all this letters and stuff and junk in his poster basket. It looks like it's not been touched in months, so... I don't want to go through the next door, because I don't want to find him on my own. Yeah. No. You're right. Okay. A name? Yes. He's got a few. I think. No. What? No. He doesn't have a criminal record. I mean, I think he's got like a restraining order or something. But I don't see how that matters anyway. Sorry. Who am I speaking to? I just want to know who I'm speaking to. Amanda. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Amanda. Yes, I know my dad's name. I just don't know which one you would have, okay? His original name, yeah, he wouldn't use that. No, I know it's Roderick, but he wouldn't use... Because it's a white man's name. Look, I'm sorry, you asked, and if you were to ever ask my dad about that name, he'd say, Roderick. Roderick is a Germanic name. It means rich in glory. Sorry, rich in the white man's glory. Yes, me. A black man from the Caribbean, rich in the white man's glory. What kind of Babylon name is that to give to your child? You know, 1,000 years ago, Shaitan was let loose on this world. A bunch of white devils travelled to Africa and they ripped the land apart. They ripped the language apart. They ripped the families apart. They turned the black man, the black father, into something that was totally worthless. You know, when you read the book How to Make a Slave, it says when you talk about a nigger, you're basically taking someone from gold and reducing them to base metal. It means that everyone in the Caribbean is base metal. It means that everyone in the Caribbean is insecure. It means if I have that white man's name, I'll be base metal, I'll be insecure. So my daddy wouldn't use that name. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to shout. I feel like you're just not listening to me. No. Do you know what? Why do you even need his name? You don't need his name. You just need his address, don't you? Because I'm here. I just need someone to come here and meet me now. So what, someone wouldn't just come and meet me? Right. A call back? Right. Okay, yeah, great, thank you. Yeah, thanks, bye. I go back to the door, and there's spiderwebs, spiderwebs, spiderwebs. I should dive, knocking now, knocking, ticking, 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 knocking and ticking, because the broken meter is ticking, it's ticking, it's ticking, ticking. And I remember when my mum, she said that she was going to go to the shop. So she went, oh, I'll be back in a tick. So I went and got some paper, and I tick, 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 ticked. And when she got back, I said, look, Mum, you took 785 ticks. And she looked at me like I was a little lunatic. She said, you mustn't take things so literally. And I suppose she had a point, because there was this time when she left me with my dad, and she said she was going to the shop, and she said, I'll be back in a tick. She said, watch her. And she left him the bottle, the milk, the nappies, everything that he needed. And when she came back, she found my dad, the bottle of milk, the nappies, the dummy, everything that he needed. And me, I was just there, kind of red and shrieking and crying and sweating. She should have been a bit more specific, because she asked him to watch me, and he did. The front door flies open. The walls are shaking. Books come crashing down. A booming voice says, 10. The atmosphere's hot. Everything's hot, loud, dusty, vibrating. I don't understand. I want it to stop. 9. I'm on the floor. Head's popped up. Try and touch my face, something on my head. 10. Dad? He's on a chair. I'm floating. Air whirring, walls shaking. I crawl, I make it. 7. He straps me in. I look at him. He looks so young, the air is spin. 6. He's got the Quran in his hands. He points to chapter 96. His hands are shrinking. 5. Read in the name of your Lord. He who created man from a clot, taught man what he did not know. 4. He repeats these lines again and again and again. His voice is swelling. We're lifting up. Nothing's making sense. Read, he says. Read. 3. My eyes are glued shut. 2. Did he just call me mother? 1. My helmet is hot and tight. Everything starts to melt. Lift off. Everything feels like it's cooling down. All the walls are rounded like a womb. I look up to see a smiling face in a helmet. It looks like my dad, but like a 6-year-old version. A smiling 6-year-old. And he runs to me and hands me a crayon drawing. And it's a polka dot rocket ship with a blue fireball bursting out of it, and it's headed to a perfectly shaped moon. And inside the rocket ship, there are 3 figures. Keisha, Ibrahim and Chemet. Where's Ibrahim, he says. Why didn't you bring him with you? But how do you explain a restraining order to a 6-year-old whilst you're floating in space? I point to this muscular figure that he's labelled Chemet, and I say, is this you? Yeah, this is me, he says. My name's Chemet. I'm an inventor, and I invented this reading gun. You point it at any book, it zaps up all the words, and you point it at your head, and you shoot all the words into your brain. He asks if I've got a gold crayon. He needs it to finish off his costume. It's black and gold, and it's made out of the strongest metal in the universe, something that you can't even find on Earth. It's called chemetium, and it fills up one of those missing boxes on the periodic table. It can move really easy like Mercury, but only he can make it do that. He asks if I like his costume. And I fumble over some words about how intelligent and creative he is, but he's already floated off. And then he's back. Hands me a mug of brown liquid. Our suits have got large umbilical cords connecting us to the switchboard. We sit quietly, sipping our chicken soup between red and white stripy straws. Dad, I say, why did you stop writing to me? He spins in a zero-gravity cartwheel as he explains that he was just too busy building this ship. Tells me about every bit of it, every nut and bolt, from start to finish, how he was just eating and sleeping and building. He always knew that I'd come find him. Dad, I say, why are we going to the moon of all places? He floats off, and I follow him. We look out the window, and I can see Europe and Africa, the Atlantic Ocean. Then he starts pointing at all these countries that we need to get away from. Too much bombing, too much lying, too much hate. We need to go somewhere smaller, quieter, slower. He says that his suit doesn't work here because chemetium's from the moon, it's not from Earth. He brings his mouth to my ear and says, we need to get close to the moon, to get close to the magic. And I close my eyes. And then they dart back open, because I get a sudden urge for chips and gravy. I want my stripy blanket from my bed. I want my yellow notebook. I want my music. I want my mum. Actually, Dad, are we dead? He looks up and shrugs, wanders over to his stash of recycled paper, starts to draw a new picture, but I don't want to be on this ship. I'm only 25. And he can tell that I'm wanting to leave now, so he's ignoring me. He's humming, he's putting his fingers in his ears, and his humming is louder than my brain as it starts to tick, 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 tick. So I just grab a piece of paper and write him a letter. Inshallah, Dad. Thank you for all these books. I read the Numerology ones more than you think. So I know that Chemet is equal to 9. Because K is equal to 2, E is equal to 5, M is equal to 4, E is equal to 5, T is equal to 2 plus 4 plus 5 plus 4 plus 2 is 18, and 1 plus 8 is 9. Did you know that love was equal to 9? Because L is equal to 3, O is equal to 6, V is equal to 4, and E is equal to 5. 3 plus 6 plus 4 plus 5 is 18, 1 plus 8 is 9. And 9 means achievement and completion. So basically, Dad, I really like your new name. Lots of 9s from Keisha. It's Monday the 21st of December. I'm stood outside my dad's flat. It's been 5 months since I've heard from him. When I woke up this morning, I knew I needed to check on him. I know without even trying that this door is unlocked, but I know that I'm not ready to open it yet. So instead, I kneel down and push my hand through his letterbox and start to speak. Hi, Dad. It's me. I brought you a tin of chicken soup. Dad, can you tell me about the 3 laws of Newton again? Dad? Can you tell me what your eccentricity is? Can you tell me how to build a spacesuit? Can you tell me about that time you stood up to Grandma? Can you tell me about the Dogons, Dad? Dad, are you going to make me do this all over again? Dad? Can I say I love you, and can you say it back? Dad? If I was on the moon where there was no air resistance, and I drop this can of soup and my sanity at the same time. Which would hit the ground first, Dad? I hear the faint sound of a page turning, so I push my eyes up, until I see his pale feet levitating above the patchy beige couch, like a Sufi Jedi king.